Hey y'all, back today, first reaction video. So y'all know how in these days and times, a lot of people becoming homeless. A lot of people they're struggling to find money for rent, for mortgage, cause a lot of jobs they're not hiring like that no more. And unfortunately, a lot of people they're starting to go through it. And we know we're just gonna be doing a quick reaction nowadays to a lot of these videos of people that talk about on TikTok, YouTube, and we're just gonna get into it. So let's go.
Reality that I'm witnessing and seeing, and this is the hard truth. Women are becoming modern day slut and pros. Even the little ones, the young ones, even the grandmothers, even the mothers. No, this is the truth. You have grown men sitting around, don't teach, don't educate, nothing. I don't know what the hell they do. They're part of the problem. Me, I get up on here. I try to educate and teach and warn.
See, that's also part of the problem. A lot of men they don't want to get up and do nothing. You know, you got a lot of men to where they'll sit down all day, they'll play PlayStation, they won't sit down, they won't pursue a job, they won't go after a business, they sit down and let some of their women do all the work. And then they wonder why so many households are broken. Now you got so many women that's selling their body now. Selling their body for cash, for money. And it's really sad, y'all, but that's just reality. Because nowadays people are desperate to do anything. And even though as followers of Christ, we know it's a sin, but to a lot of people, they don't even care about that because they're just trying to get a quick buck. And now you got a lot of people that's selling their body for money. So let's go get back into it.
As much as I can. Just like I did before, and you have a lot of people suffering from the consequences. And it's only going to get worse. You're going to suffer even more. You still ignoring me? Still thinking things are going to get better? If it hasn't gotten better for you now, it ain't getting better for you later.
Well, that's the difference though. Us followers of Christ, it can get better for us. You know why? Because we got Christ on our side. You know, when you read pursuing God's will, when you read doing the will of the Father, He will open up doors for you. Never think, yo, that you gotta go sell your body for cash just to make it in life, because you don't. There's other ways to make it out. There's other ways to be successful and prosperous. There's other ways to achieve and be something in life. But yo, that was just one video. We won't get into it because it's really crazy, y'all. We got a lot of people to where they going broke.
Let me tell you how I went from a millionaire to homeless in 1 year. So I started off, I bought me a Hellcat. Then I went and bought me a Scat Pack. Then I said, you know what, I like this. But it was just all personal at first. Just my personal cause. But I said, you know what, I could turn this to a business. And I said, I am going to turn this to a business. So I started investing. I got into Turo and I started renting my cars out. Then I just started buying cars every day. That's all I was doing. Buying cars, buying guns. Then I started feeling myself.
See, y'all, that's the thing, pride. You know, when you start getting that money, you start becoming successful. You see, y'all, it's one thing to keep money, right? It's not hard. You know, it's one thing to get money and become rich, but you gotta keep your money too, and that's the issue where a lot of people go wrong. You even got people to where they've won the lottery, but they squandered all their money. They spent all their money on cars and women and drugs and all these things, and they're losing it. And it's really sad, yo, but that's just a reality. A lot of people, they lose their money because they're not financially smart. You gotta be financially stable. And the thing with many people is the fact that they're not financially stable. And they don't really have the, you know, the financial wisdom to know that it's one thing to keep money. It's one thing to get money, but you gotta keep it. You know, a lot of people they just don't know how to handle money. They become millionaires. They get, you know, the nice car, the nice job now. Now all of a sudden, they just start squandering all their money.
Let me tell you something most people don't understand about homelessness in 2025. It's not the person you see sleeping outside. It's the person that's ringing you up at Target who's about to sleep in her car after her shift. It's not because she doesn't work. It's because the approval system she has to go through were never designed for working people. Here's the part nobody tells you about. Housing approvals don't care that you have a job. They care whether your job, your income, your deposits, and your credit profile and your payroll history all tell the same exact story.
And that's why we gotta be financially smart, y'all. Cause in these last days, people think just having a job is it, but it's not. In these last days, it's deeper than just having a job. It's deeper than just, oh, I work at so and so. They check everything: your credit score, how much money you make, your deposits, everything. They factor everything in, y'all. That's why in these last days you gotta be smart, because a lot of people, they think that just having a job is enough, and it's not. It's deeper than just having a job. It's deeper than just, oh, I work as so and so. No, a lot of people, they going homeless. Look, you got so many people that's going homeless. That's the thing I don't like about a lot of these credit systems, is that you could be, even when you're applying to certain jobs, they ask your credit score and all that. And it's just so crazy, because the reason you're applying to that job is so that you could improve yourself as a person. Like, obviously, someone got like a 500 credit score and they're applying to a job for 80,000. They try to help pay off their bills. But you see, a lot of these companies, they don't care, because it's part of the system. It's embarking in a system to try to keep people at the bottom, try to keep people in poverty. And it's really crazy, y'all, because you'll be thinking like, wow, I'm over trying to get a job, when they ask my credit score. The next, they want to try to turn you down, discriminate against you just because you don't have a high credit. But that's the whole point if you applying for the job. That's the whole point if you doing the job in the first place. It's so you could get that high paying job, so you could pay off your bills. But it's really sad, y'all, is that these jobs, they just don't really care. Look at these things. It's not just China right here in America. All throughout, you could go throughout this whole platform, you see people doing this. People being homeless, or people going on homeless in their 20s. You'll be thinking like, wow.
That's his mom. However, when I was homeless when I was 16, she took me in. I had ran away.
You became homeless at 16. You got a lot of young people to where they becoming homeless at that age. A lot of them becoming homeless at 16, 18, 19, because some of them are in dysfunctional households. Their parents kicked them out. They ain't got nowhere to go. Then they gotta go sleep in the street. There's even somebody who I know who had to go, I think he said was homeless for 2 weeks. He had to go sleep in a train. Look, you have college kids now. College graduates who can't even find a job. They can't even find a job coming out of college. Imagine that. Imagine working so hard for your degree and you can't even find a job.
Class of 2026 high school and college graduates are absolutely fucked in the job market. They're
Excuse
fucked.
The language, yo.
They're going into
a different video. Look at this.
I can't find a job. I don't know what it is. Is it my neck tattoos? Was it actually that big of a mistake? Like, what is going on? I just graduated college 2 weeks ago, but I've been applying for over the last 8 months. Guess how many applications I've fucking submitted? I've applied to over 380 companies, and I've only gotten responses back from 16 of them.
And you know what the funny thing is, yo? Or not even funny, I should say. The sad thing is that fact that he applied to 380, he got 16 responses. There's people who I've seen to where they made like 1,000 applications. They only got like 2 or 3 responses. It's rough like that now, y'all. And we wonder why some people are going homeless. Why some people, they can't pay their bills. Why people are losing their house and their cars and everything they have is going into foreclosure. Because look, you got people that's coming out of college that can't even find a job. Now imagine if you work so hard for your bachelor's, master's, PhD, and you can't even get into a job. You can't even start your own career. You're being held back because the companies don't want to give you a chance. Some of them we talk about you're overqualified even though you got the experience. Like, how can someone be overqualified if they even got no experience? That just make no sense. All of these people right here telling you that they can't find a job. Imagine that. You spend all that time through college. Look.
After applying for 324 jobs, getting 9 interviews and 0 job offers, I'm convinced that I'm just destined to be homeless. And the worst part is I am $117,000 in debt because some idiot convinced me that going to school and getting a degree was actually going to get me. So I don't want to.
Hey, see, a lot of people want to start turning to trade school or other stuff, because imagine you work so hard for your degree. You work so hard. You go to school. You do all that work. You go through them hard classes. Listen, I got bachelor's and master's. Them classes is hard. I got bachelor's in marketing and master's in healthcare administration. Them classes is hard. You go through all that work. And look, he over $117,000 in debt. Yeah, he can't even find a job. He can't even find a job to even go help pay his bills, to go make a living for himself. That's what I told y'all in many videos. Entrepreneurship, you gotta have something on the side for yourself, because if you just relying in these jobs, some of them will want to give you a chance because they probably don't want to give you a chance because of your race, because you this color. Yeah, there's racism there still exists in these jobs, especially when you are this color. A lot of it's real, y'all. And you got so many college kids that's coming out that can't find a job, and we wonder why so many people are going homeless. Why we see so many people, especially like young people in the streets, losing their mind. Yo, this guy stop. But we understand that in these last days before Christ comes back, these things are gonna happen. You know, it's sad, but the Bible talks about it. In the last days, there'll be things like wars, rumors of wars, famine, plagues. But y'all, we just gotta keep pushing. We need God. That's why I was telling you, main videos, make sure you solid in God, because you need God's favor in these days and times. Cause without God's favor, I'm telling you, you'll be just walking around lost in your own. And some people, they don't know where to turn to, because a lot of people, they choose not to follow God's ways. And I'm not talking about the people directly in this video, but out there in society. Got a lot of people to where they want to go walk down their own path, but it's dangerous in these days and times. Cause without God's favor, I'm telling you, God's favor will open doors for miracles. He'll open doors for jobs, businesses, many things. But if you're not following God, you basically walk in a thin ice by yourself. And you can always slip at any minute. That's why you see so many people become millionaires overnight. Then guess what? Later on, no money and they back to being in debt, homeless and all of that. Y'all, this is just a quick video. Just stay prayed up, y'all. If y'all like this, you want more reaction videos, tell me, let me know. Thank you. Have a blessed day.